Beautiful Carson, California. I know we had a little snafu in the beginning. I blame it all on Scott Buchert, who is in our studio audience. By the way, everybody, these are our raffle prizes for next Monday. In addition to that, we're going to have a lot more prizes, but 2 great reels for next week on Tackle Shop Confessions. Sam, why don't you talk about these great prizes that Chuck Zimmer, you know what he's from, organization?
He's from the Redondo Beach something or other.
No, he's from Z Custom Rods.
He is.
Z Custom Rods. Z Custom Rods. Z Custom Rods. By the way, before you get started on that, Scott Buchert was offered the opportunity to sit up here on the stage with Sam and I to get a free rail rod. He turned this down. He didn't want to do it.
Give it back to
Doug Tqckle. I present you with the Scott Buchert, well, it's the Doug Tqckle rail rod now.
Hey,
congratulations, my friend.
Phil. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, no problem. It's a big night here for Doug. Sorry, Scott. Opportunity, what they say, only knocks once. So next time, maybe.
This will work great on my bass boat.
There you go. Congratulations. What's up, my friend?
How you doing?
Man, we got a great studio audience here tonight, it looks like. And go ahead, Sam. Take over.
No, I'm just checking them out.
Okay. Well, tell everybody what we have and how they are.
We got 2 reels, and they're really cool. One is a Fathom 25 Narrow. Now, this is the older version, the black and gold. I know a lot of guys are really into these reels right here. So this should definitely get a lot of views, a lot of tickets sold, I should say.
Yes.
And then this here is the Avit HX Wide Raptor. And this one here is, I would consider, one of the kind of should have, reels for this current tuna fishing we're catching. Would do just fine for dropping a jig. It's a little bit on the lighter weight side, which is kind of what people want these days, but still has a lot of power. This is the Raptor version, so it's got all the drag you need. 2-speed, 5-to-1 high gear ratio for jigging, 2-to-1 low gear ratio for bringing in a big tuna. And it's a nice color too, this gunmetal. So,
Yeah, that is nice.
So what else are you bringing?
We're going to have some jigs that we're going to raffle up. I think we have a couple of free fishing trips that are going to get chucked in. The El Patron's coming through. Maybe even the El Dorado's coming through with some free trips. I know you love fishing the El Dorado.
Yeah.
And so do so many other people out there. So, yeah, just a lot of great prizes. That'll be next Monday night. If you want to get in early on it, just send Chuck Zimmer from Z Custom Rods. Z Custom Rods. Z Custom Rods. A text.
We should probably have that up there.
We should. 310-918-1448. I hope. I hope that's your number. Chuck, is that your number?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to give that money to somebody else.
I know, really, yeah. Don't send any money. Just send them a text at this point, and I think that's it. Hey, Chuck. Where'd Chuck go?
He's in this office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll check on that. Don't do anything until we get that confirmed. But it's great to be with you all. There's a lot to talk about, including, Sam, some of the best local bass fishing we've seen in a long time. Years. In fact, Greg Watson came in our office at 22nd Street. He was out yesterday. He said they caught well over 100 bass. He said it's the best bass fishing he's seen in 3 or 4 decades.
Wow.
He's been around for a while.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it truly is remarkable. And for you and I mean, we're both about getting kids into the sport. Perfect, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you drop down halfway, just hold on. When you feel it tug, start winding. And usually you'll have a bass. And those things are nice, though. Pull just hard enough. Usually you won't pull any drag off your reel or anything like that, but hard enough, and they tug all the way back to the boat. And they're good eating.
They're great eating.
So all the way around, it's a perfect game fish.
Yeah, perfect. And not only, Greg was talking about, by the way, calico bass.
Yeah.
He had full-speed calicos. Like the Native Son, they're on day 7 of full-speed, wide-open sand bass fishing, both on the twilight and the daytime. It's just been as good as you could possibly want it right now, and I'm so happy to see that going on. Yeah. Hey, you had something you wanted to, let me ask Chuck, what's your, is it 918-1448? Perfect. All right, 310-918-1448. Chuck Zimmer from Z Custom Rods. And Scott, boy, I hope the heck he can dig you up a rail rod in a couple of years because Doug Tqckle just got a beauty. You wanted to say something? I think you were talking to your kids on the phone about the dog, or did I overhear something that you were going to talk about?
Oh,
or
yeah,
am I
no.
blowing something here?
No. We just got a new little puppy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the kids are super into it. We just got him yesterday, and so Diego had to. He was his turn last night to stay with them. He did a great job.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So the rest of us were able to sleep, and I don't know how he did it, but he was able to calm him down and slept all night.
Oh, that's great.
So, it's pretty awesome
What
start.
kind of dog is it?
I don't know. It's, yeah. So
It's a mutt.
It's one of those dogs. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
great. Those are the best kind. If you
He's a
ask
cute
me.
little guy, though, for sure.
Yeah, Scott in the house, says Isaac. He's very happy to have Scott Buchert along with us tonight. We are too. We feel blessed that Scott is here. We were hoping he'd sit between us tonight and take Michael Limon's seat, but he gave up his rail rod to Doug Tilk, a man
such a nice-
who has done so much for so many, including Lucky, who showed up to our event. And Doug's got a nice sweatshirt for Lucky out there in the very near future. Thang Nguyen, the raffle, these reels, is going to be next week, next Monday night. You can send Chuck $5 or $20 for 5 tickets right now if you want. 310-918-1448. Hey, Chuck, do you have your thing that with your information? Okay, no problem. That's what it is there. Martin M. In the JRI lineup of surface irons, what jig is the Stinger modeled after? The Hacker BCL, question mark? I know the JR1 is a model after Salis J Pot, JRI4, the Salis 5X, and so on. Scott, do you know the answer? That
Yeah.
makes 2 of us.
I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to put it out there as fact. I know that that Jerry did put out a really long article at one time on Bloody Decks about what the jigs kind of were patterned after, and so I would go back to that as a reference. I just don't know off the top of my head, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know he's got a whole listing of that. It might be on his website as well. He might have a link to that article. But I know he does have it. It's all public, so he's got it up there somewhere.
All right, very good. I'm seeing a lot of sea bass and halibut caught at Cedros. When's your trip to
We're not
Cedros?
until
September, right?
Yeah.
That should be fun, man. You
Oh,
should have
yeah.
yellows and who knows, maybe even a few sea bass hanging out that late. You never know, right?
It's all a bonus. I mean, just being down there is just awesome. So, yeah, the catching, which has been incredible, by the way, but it's all a bonus for sure.
Yeah. Mike Reeder, Night Bite. Thanks, Sam and Phil. Mike, I know, man. Chat. What's with these T-shirts here?
So, Mike, really, really good buddy. He's been shopping with me for, well, probably 25 years now or something like that, even back at Baja when I worked at Baja. And just a super cool dude. He's the kind of guy that comes in and, we talk fishing, but we just kind of chat it up and screw around. And it's just kind of like that deck humor that you get when you go out fishing with a friend, So we carry that back into the shop and screw around. Well, I guess some of his buddies that he's been fishing with for a long time have had this kind of more like a running joke or a running kind of like inside joke between them about creating a movie called Night Bite, and so he came in and he was talking to me about it, and I'm like, man, that sounds like a cool idea, So I told him, I said, you know what? I go. He showed me an image of one of the T-shirts, and I told him, I said, well, look, if it was me, meaning if I was him, I'd make a website. I go that tuna one to me is just an awesome design, first of all, but just the idea that somebody hasn't, or I guess, knowing that somebody hasn't come up with a T-shirt brand or logo or a company that is centered around fishing nighttime tuna, which has pretty much dominated our fishery the last 10 years.
Yeah,
you really
pretty
don't
much.
have that. We have like the flying fish one and
Yeah.
other kinds of tuna ones like that, which are really, really cool T-shirts as well. No one's really concentrated on this nighttime fishing or zombie fishing or whatever you want to call
Zombie
it.
fish. It's a good zombie movie.
It's something that they've kind of brought up as a kind of a cool thing. And I told them, I said, man, give me one of those T-shirts. I'll put it out here. And I even told them, I said, you need to have a website because I think people would just want to order them.
Yeah.
So, in fact, he gave me a couple of extras. And I'll say this. I'll go ahead and I'll throw those in for next
Oh,
week's
that's
raffle.
great. Those are great for the raffle. Perfect.
So it won't be unlimited on the sizes. I think those are XLs, which is a pretty universal size.
Yes.
But that's pretty cool. So that's going to
Thank you,
add
Sam.
to the raffle for next week.
That's beautiful. Sounds like a good zombie movie title, doesn't it?
It is. I mean, just that Dark Moon crew. I mean, you would think that's kind of like a common thing. There's guys who seek out those dates on charter groups or schedules to go fishing, are related to the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, how many questions do we get about moon related?
Oh my God, all the time, right?
influence and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So these guys live by it. So all of their tuna trips are in the dark of the moon. And I will say that Mike has been on a lot of really good trips. So maybe there's something to it. And I will tell you this: I went out fishing on the Royal Star, trying to disprove that full moon thing, and I was wrong. So, we did catch some nice fish, and I had a great time, and it was an awesome trip. But it just seemed like as the moon got full,
Man,
that tuna went away.
It's been like clockwork, man.
It
It's
has.
almost like I'm praying that it's not going to be such clockwork because you like to,
trip.
yeah.
Yeah.
But man, I actually, when Lori on the Apollo gave me our dates, she gave me a date later in June. And I looked at it, I go, yeah, I go, wait a minute, what's a moon phase? And she said, it's full moon. I go, we'll take that June 2nd date.
Yeah.
And then we had a great trip. We just got lucky on that. So, yeah, it's been like clockwork. Scott Buchert in the house. Boy, we're loving it. Scott donated his beautiful rail rod to Doug Tilk. I got to thank you so much, Scott. Great job tonight for being so kind and generous to Doug, who does a lot of good in our communities. Matthew Tamayo. Who I think won the rod, right, Matt? I'm pretty sure you did. Yes. Good evening. On the Mirage tonight, gentlemen. We'll report back tomorrow. Phil, Matt, give me a little video, just a little bit, and a couple of photos. That'll be great. And best of luck to you, my friend. We're hoping you have a great trip. Real time. I'm pretty sure this is Dax's dad. Lots of white sea bass in Oxnard, 50 yesterday, amazing. He's talking about the Aloha Spirit. They had a tremendous trip. Sam, I ran a short about an 11-year-old boy. I believe it's his son, Dax. He got his personal best, 40-pound white sea bass.
Wow.
But moreover, he wanted to share fishing with a friend, so he brought his friend Cruz out with him.
Okay.
And Cruz got a fish that looked like it was that big, and it's his first white sea bass. What a bite up there, man.
That's the kind of fishing we got going on too. We always talk about that. You go on a trip and the guy with the rent rod catches the big fish. Well, anybody who's going up there right now sees that they're catching a big fish. So, yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance to go up there, and it's kind of creeping down. There's been a little bit of that Catalina bite too.
Yeah, there has.
Yeah, I know the Thunderbird got him really good. I know the Freedom had that epic trip, but they had like 50 halibut or something like
81.
that. 81 halibut. Jeez,
Yeah.
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Even 50 sounds like way too many.
Yeah.
They got 81 halibut, so fishing in general on the islands on what would normally be a bonus fish is crazy. So yeah, if you guys have time to go, you should go.
I have a trivia question for you. Do you know who the two deckhands on the El Patron will be in the morning tomorrow?
I have no idea.
It will be Anthony and Scott Buchert will be your deckhands
Really?
tomorrow. Yeah.
What kind of trip is this?
What are you talking about? It's going to be a great trip.
Like a goof off trip or something?
Yeah, these are people that are supposed to go to purgatory, get
Let me
tortured
ask you
before
this.
they get led into
Does
heaven.
the El Patron know this yet?
No. Big surprise for them. All right, so Mike Reeder says he loves the stream. Mike, we love you being along with us. Jeff Lingle. Hey, Sam and Friedman Adventures family, I love Jeff Lingle. He admitted to me today that he's a big USC fan, and I still love him. What the heck?
USC.
What can I say, man? Best bite is the Dark Moon, says Mike. Jeff Lingle, Vampire Charters. Becca, great name. Absolutely. Leaving on the Red Rooster 3 tomorrow. Mike Reeder.
yeah.
Is Mike on a 8-day trip or what? Or is it a shorter
It's
trip?
a shorter trip, yeah. So Mike's the guy that brought me the shirt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mike, best of luck to you.
Yeah.
Great shirts, and best of luck on your trip. Let us know how you do, please. Mike the Krinkovich is here. Scott, your buddy, Mike Krinkovich. I'm back. Is Scott in the house? If he's not gripping on the Humboldt squid, he's concerned they will ruin the fishing. Scott is concerned. We've seen Humboldt squid. You're shaking your head. And I don't know if you're shaking it because you think that's a dumb thing Scott's thinking, or you're worried too. But the Humboldt squid showed up in the Bay of L.A. What do you think? Are they going to come up here and wipe the sand bass out? Scott's worried.
Well, as long as Scott goes down there and stops them, we'll be all right.
All right, there you go. You're not decking on the El Patron tomorrow, Scott. You're driving to 460 miles down the Baja coast. Robert Graber, super great guy. Good evening, Phil, Sam, Doug. Scott and the Friedman Adventure family fanatics. Happy Tackle Shop Confessions Monday. That rail rod's going to look great on your bass boat. Congratulations, Doug. Wow, that's so nice to hear. Everybody congratulating him. I know you're thrilled about it too, Anthony. It's great stuff. Matt Tamayo, yeah, I know you did, man. Pando56, thanks to Phil, I caught my first halibut on the Apollo. Now need a lingcod white sea bass. Going on the Seabiscuit Sunday. I'm stopped by the shop Sunday to buy some sea bass tackle. Sam, what gear do I need? First of all, Eric, Sam won't be here on Sunday, I don't think, right?
No,
You're going to have to come Saturday, man.
Yeah.
Bring your brick.
And Eric, I ran a short on you catching your fish. I hope you saw that. Eric is an awesome fisherman. He knows how to use a rail rod. If we ever get another rail rod, we just gave one to Doug Tilt, it's going to Eric. And then maybe Scott will get one, someday. So he needs to come in here on Saturday, right?
Saturday would be the day, yeah.
And he wants to get some sea bass tackle. What would you recommend? He wants to know what gear does he need?
So sea bass fishing, other than just live bait, they've been catching a lot of that fish on squid. So a dropper loop, 6 to 10 ounce torpedo, 4 to 7.0 Aki twist owner hook has been kind of the norm. But a lot of the guys have been catching a lot of those fish on lures, namely the flukes. So I got 3 different ones here. This is the one from Sudden Impact. This is the one we sell really, really a lot of. It's been a really good 8-inch one. I got this one here, Mag 12. This is the one he calls Ice. Been a really good one, catching a lot of fish. MC Swim Baits, we just started carrying their stuff. And this is one of the first things he sent us. This is a 7-inch swim bait from them. A lot of guys like this because they can fish it on a little smaller lead head for a little shallower water, so that's a good one too. By far, the number one lead head here is this Gitsum 1.5 ounce. We got a little bit left. I'm just looking at a box here with our back stock. It's probably got 2 packs full, and we'll probably be gone here by the end of the week, I would think. So this 1.5 ounce Gitsum head. Now, I would say this, that the white is the best seller, but they've been catching them on all colors. And we have them in like a chartreuse green color, pink, orange. It seems like every year there was kind of a hot color. But this year, I think that any of these colors would be just fine. In fact, these are some 2-ounce ones here as well. Some guys have been liking the 2-ounce a little bit better. But mainly it's going to be that dropper loop fishing along with this fluke fishing and one of these Gitsum heads. That'd be what you want. Everything else, maybe for some rock cod. Now you're just talking maybe a 16-ounce sinker or something like that, or a knife jig or anything of that sort to catch your rock cod.
All right, Eric, best of luck to you on the Seabiscuit. Hope you have a great trip. Chris Navarro wants to know where the Scott Butcher photograph is. And to be perfectly candid with you, it's missing. We don't know where it is.
Really?
Yeah, we thought maybe you took it home. No?
Not me.
And then maybe Doug took it and gave it to Paulina. No, because Doug was taking Paulina out to lunch with her, or breakfast the other day. So, and Anthony's blaming me, so we don't know where it is. Scott may have gotten a hold of it and ripped it to shreds. That's a possibility. We're trying to figure this out. Look at him. I think he did. Was he with us when?
No.
No. Oh, well, then I screwed it up somehow.
When we came back from Mexico.
Oh, I screwed it up. We had it in Mexico.
They couldn't come across the border.
Scott's looking like he did something with it. I don't know.
Did you?
Oh, James Blanchard is with us. He says, Sam, I have a Daiwa reel model. I love James Blanchard, so I'm going to read this. Normally, I would just disqualify this question. Way too many letters and digits in the rod, but here we go. It's an SLTG J70 HB rod. What size reel will work with this SLTG J70 HB rod? You got that? You know which rod that is? You want me to read that one more time?
I'm looking it up right now. So
Yeah.
I think that's one of those Saltiga jigging rods. That rod is, if it's the heavy, you probably, if you're looking to kind of get a jigging specific reel, maybe like a 2500 or a 2000 OSHA jigger would be really good with that. You can get into like maybe a Fathom 15 extra narrow would be good. Any of those kinds of reels. Akuma has their Kavala or Elijos 12 narrow be another good one as well. So that's a jigging rod. So if you want a jigging reel, those would be the ones that I would recommend.
All right, James, thanks for joining us tonight in the boat. Fishing. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Phil, I'm going on an overnight trip on the Freedom Friday. Say hi to Rick Russell for me. Make sure you do that. First time white sea bass fishing. Any tips? Hey, man, you came to the right place here. Do you think a Tranks 300 is too light for white sea bass? Do you know what island these sea bass have been hanging at? Sam, go ahead.
Well, no, that 300 is pretty appropriate. That's what a lot of guys have been fishing. A 400 is probably more common. Guys are just using that because they have a little bit heavier line on there. A lot of this stuff up at the Channel Islands has been a little on the smaller side. Some of the bigger fish has been more like at Catalina, and guys are catching more of that kind of fish on more of a dropper loop type thing or heavier gear. But a 300 has caught a lot of these sea bass, and I think you're more than fine with that. But do you have any comment on like where they've been getting them? It's kind of
well, like you mentioned, some of those big. There's been fish at Clemente.
Yeah.
There's
As
been
well.
fish at Santa Barbara Island.
Right.
Of course, Rose has been central pretty much, but there's fish on the front side of Santa Cruz. There's fish spread just about everywhere. In fact, Sam, I was making the point. You know, the 3/4 day boat out of Oceanside had 8 the other day.
Yeah, I think
They
the
had-
southern boats have been getting them on the
They've
coast.
been getting fish,
Yeah.
and then you look at the long range boys.
Yeah.
They're going in on the beach down there 200 miles, and they're catching some
Yeah.
sea bass. So seems to be
All the
spread
islands.
around.
Yeah.
I would think that Ensenada would be all over it. They have a little issue with gill nets down there.
Mm-hmm,
Like anything happens, they don't have any solid regs on that. So I would think that would be good too. So it just seems to be. It seems like they're pushing
Yeah.
out their frontier a little bit. Look at Cedros.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Look at they've been getting them.
I would say right now, you go out of Ventura, that's probably the only place where you can expect to catch them.
You
Sea
darn
bass
right,
is
man.
still a fish, like any fish. You're not going to catch them every single day. But I would say they've had the most days where they've caught limits has been up there. So
Yep.
that might be the way to look at it, I guess.
Speaking of Ventura sport fishing, Scott Bucher wants me to remind you all that Daniel Hadaway and the Island Spirit are going tomorrow. And Wednesday, they do their halibut only special. 805-676-3474. Make sure you give them a call. Mike Krankovich, yo, Slammin' Sammy, have you got them bunker buster jigs yet? They kill it, take no prisoners.
I'm not sure what they're killing. Never heard of them before.
Yeah, they are. Mike Reeder, Sam, talk about the difference between fishing the right bluefin tuna jig and fishing the jig correctly. Mike, great question.
Yeah, so that has been kind of a thing lately here where guys have really, that's been the question now. 5 years ago, we were just talking about use the biggest jig you can pretty much wind on. So 400 gram, 500 gram jig with the biggest hook and hoping for the best. Now, we did have probably a higher percentage of bigger fish in those years. And so it seemed like no jig was too big. In fact, I saw some jigs that were like in the 800 gram category, some gigantic jigs. And I didn't see those for too long. I think some guys probably dropped those 2 times and said, forget this. It's not going to happen, So, but a 500 gram jig was pretty much the norm, and that's what we were selling the most of. Now, it seems like guys are getting more comfortable with using the different sizes of jigs. And now, especially even more so with those tungsten jigs, even getting smaller. Now, on the trip that I was on, we did catch fish on the tungsten jig, and it did catch, at times, it seems like it was a little hotter than other jigs. But we caught more fish on other jigs because that's what was tied on to everybody else's rod. So we caught plenty of fish. I mean, it's hard to say whether or not if everybody would have had tungsten jigs, if we would have caught twice as many of fish. I don't think so. But I do feel like the guys who were on the boat, who were taking the time, going to the front of the boat. Now, granted, this is not going to be something that everybody's going to be able to do, but casting forward of the drift, that made a huge difference. So getting ahead of the drift by far was more important than what you had tied on to the end of your line. As long as it was heavy enough. 250 grams, we had really good weather, which typically with the full moon sometimes you don't get good weather. So
Gets windy, doesn't it?
yeah, it
Sometimes.
gets windy, but we had really good weather, so you didn't have to go really, really big. But a 250 gram jig to 350 gram jig was enough on our trip. But being able to cast that jig, and the trouble comes in is that you have an international 30 or a 50, a big reel. It's just hard to cast. Just the weight of the reel and the rod together make it hard to chuck that thing. So that's where reels like this, or a Macara 16, or a Fathom 40, or those kinds of reels, you can just cast them a lot farther. So if you're able to do that, that's going to really, really make you a lot more successful. And then once the boat starts drifting backwards, which typically it does when the guys start, You know, in the beginning, when you first start, everyone's going and the line's going to the back of the boat. Well, eventually, that boat stops drifting forward, it'll start drifting backward, and all the lines will start going up to the front of the boat. Well, at that point, when that starts to happen, you want to cast downwind to the downwind corner and make it so that when the jig is vertical, it's pretty much almost at the very middle or the center of the stern. And then you'll get, well, first of all, you'll be vertical, but you'll get way more time in a vertical presentation than if you just drop it straight down. So that is by far what I've seen to be the biggest factor and one thing that you can do to increase your chances.
All right, very good. Thank you, Sam. Scott Bucher has just announced first 12 people to SoCal Wings tonight. Wings are on him. Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate it. Isaac says, Sam, would you guys be able to replace a tip eye on a UC Viper, or would I have to drop the rod off with you?
No, typically we can do it here while you wait, so just bring it down. As long as we have the right tip, which we normally carry all those, no problem. So just bring it down, we'll fix it up for you.
All right, Ken Trenholm, who we will see on our September Apollo trip out of Seaforth Sport Fishing in San Diego. Hello, Friedman Adventures family. Phil, your surf fishing looked like a great turnout. Yeah, it was another good one. I really enjoyed seeing the two boys pedaling down there to go fishing. Two of my favorite things, riding my bike and fishing. Ken, same thing, man. I forget who it was that grabbed me and towed me over there to meet these kids, but they were really cool kids. They rode their bikes all the way down there. And then, you know, we had Nicholas, I believe was his name, brought his parents who were here from Chile. So we got to welcome them. And the day before, Anthony, we had a gentleman, Rodney, who came all the way in from Arizona, and Anthony took him fishing the day previous to the event. So there's been people from all around that attended that event. Another great one. We're thinking July 5th for our next one. I'll let you know on that. Tides are perfect. Water's warm. Things are looking good. You know, I was looking, of course, the weather kind of sucked on our event.
Yeah.
Windy. It was actually raining. And I'm like, man, are we even going to catch anything? And like before the sun even came up, I see this guy fighting. And I go down, and he's got this freaking sargo.
I saw that picture.
Yeah,
Nice
like
one.
what? Yeah, a really nice one in the sand there, which is kind of an unusual catch. So turned out to be really great. All right, Isaac said I would like to put in an order for one of those shirts if he makes them. Those are awesome. There you go.
There you go. First
Isaac.
one, first order.
There you go. What's his name? The guy that's selling them?
Mike Reeder.
Mike Reeder. There you go. Your first sale, man. Tackle Shop Confessions, and we're going to raffle those off along with these great reels next week. Send Chuck a text right now, 310-918-1448. Chuck Zimmer from Z Custom Rods. A reminder also that the El Patron runs out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, Berth 55, where you can see Scott Buchert on deck tomorrow through Friday, along with our very own Anthony Mad Dog. Those guys will be on deck. They will provide you not only with great service and a lot of fun, but great entertainment. That I will guarantee you up. Pando 56, that is Eric. Thanks, Sam and Phil. I saw the vid. Thanks for my acting debut. I'll try to stop by Saturday for the tackle. Eric, best of luck to you, man. Always good to see you. Always good to have you on our charters, man. Really, really grateful that you're part of the Friedman Adventures family. Tyler Tanaka, where's he been hiding at? Jitsam lead heads are amazing. Great jig head designs and great hook size strength. Do you concur?
Yes, sir. That's why we get them in here.
Oh, perfect. Are you going to show those right now, or are you doing something
No,
else?
these are the get some heads.
Oh, okay.
This is coming up. You keep going.
Okay. Justin B. Hi, Phil and Sam. I'm going out Friday on a 2-day trip. Hope the big fish stick around. Also, hope mahi are back this year. Justin, one mahi has been caught this year that I'm aware of. There's probably more that have been caught, but it's our very own Jeff Lingle, who was down there at, if I remember right, Jeff, maybe 130, 140 miles, maybe down there off San Vicente, which is pretty close to Collinet, actually. I think that's where he had that fish. So he had one Dorado down there in 66-degree water. We're
think
hoping
the Dorado gonna bite this year?
you have a good trip. No, I think the albacore are going to bite. The albies are coming. The blue. Oh yeah. What does it say about albacore? Chances aren't good. Did you load that thing up?
I'll do it again if you want.
Yeah, please. Will the albacore bite this year? I already gave the answer. So it shall be. Whoa! Scott Bucher, what do you say?
Oh my God, this is a once in a lifetime chance. chance. Look at, he's drinking water.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
Delicious.
on camera. Gee, that's really gonna
Ruin my reputation?
Yeah.
Yeah, no energy. No
I
energy
don't know about
drinks.
reputation, but yeah.
Yeah, really. That's already shot. I hang out with Scott Buchert. My reputation went down the tubes a long time ago. All right, where are we here? Jeff Lingle retracted his statement about Scott. I don't blame you. It was a little too rough. Mike Krinkovich, I'm still all in on our boy, Scotty Boy. Okay, that makes one of us. Isaac, want to thank you, Sam. The Moon Custom Jig Rod and Shimano Ocean Jigger Reel. Ethan landed 140-pound bluefin on it.
Nice fish.
Those guys did great. Both father and son.
They were on the trip.
They were on the Islander recently, and they had a great trip a few nights
good.
ago. I'm so proud of Ethan and the job he did, and I'm so proud of Isaac. He's a great father and does a great job. It was really, really great. Fantastic. Scott Bouchard has a question. What size hooks for the tungsten jigs should we be using?
These are the ones right here.
Oh, you went and got that. Scott, excellent question.
So these are the ones from BFT. These are kind of a shorter, kind of stronger string. 2.0 and a 5.0. There's also a 3.0. And basically the 2.0 is going to be like for your 180s, the 3.0 for your 250s, and that 5.0 for your 300s. And also Taddy just dropped some off on Saturday, or maybe it was a Friday. But these are going to be same kind of deal, super strong, but kind of a little more compact. They have a 4.0 and a 5.0. I think that 4.0 would probably be good for even up to 300, but for the guys that want a little bit bigger hook, that 5.0 is going to be really nice. But the nice thing about it, it's short string with a ring on it, and so it's set up just nice. So really, really nice hooks. It'd be these Taddy singles or these BFT heavy-duty jigging assist hooks here, these blue ones.
All right, very good. Nice question, Scott. We deeply appreciate your participation here tonight. Duh, fishing cowboy. Hit them likes. Hit them likes. Hit them likes. The Fishing Cowboy, we love you. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, hit that like button. And remember to subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. Tick that rotten, filthy, disgusting, despicable little bell, and you'll be notified when there's new content. Mike Reeder, the man with the T-shirts there. Mike, he said, Phil, loved your Apollo vids. I showed my newbies getting ready for our Rooster 3-Down Wednesday. Mike, thank you so very much. You know, sometimes when you produce a video, at least you have different goals in mind, and mine is just to kind of like give you a feel for what it's like to be in a bite like that. So you can just watch and see the action. And sometimes I draw the scene out a little bit longer just so you can see how long a guy has to fight a fish. He loses a fish. We had Mackie battle a fish and pop one off, and you know, the heartbreak, the agony, and the ecstasy of fishing, all of that. So, Mike, thank you so very much. I hope that fired your guys up. Isaac said the Islander crew was awesome. I was staying with Ethan to help him. The crew said, we got him, don't worry. Go get your own fish. Nice. And that's a great crew when you get cool. That, right? Really good stuff. Harbor area, SoCal fishing. Welcome, my friend. Thank you for being here. Hey, fellas, I just want to take a second to thank Phil and Sam for always willing to help not only the fishing community, but their actual communities. I really appreciate you guys. And man, not half as much as we appreciate you. Thank you so very much.
So these baits here, he just delivered them today.
This gentleman that just wrote that comment?
Harbor area, SoCal. So kind of a up-and-comer, a guy, he's making them in his garage.
Good for you.
Guy he fishes a lot. And so that's kind of the big deal with him, is that he's going out there, he's making stuff, and he's fishing with it, kind of perfecting it. And one of the things that we have here, you know, we're talking about this bass fishing, how good it is, right? Well, on the inshore, these guys that fish inside the harbor, fishing off docks and marinas, things like that, really have been doing good this year. In fact, I mean, for a stretch there earlier in the springtime, where we weren't catching that sea bass yet, no yellowtail being caught, no tuna being caught. These guys were the guys that were kind of keeping us afloat, because they were coming in daily because the fishing was so good inside the harbor. Yeah. And that community has really, really grown. And so he came in and, you know, kind of pitched this and said, you know, maybe, you know, think about carrying these. And so I said, man, you know, he's actually right here in Carson. But he brought me these today. These are his craws for fishing inside the harbor. It's a little bit of a kind of a two type of material type construction where he has a little bit tougher material and a softer material for the bite, but a tougher material on the legs. Really, really cool. He brought me 3 colors, 20 of each. He has actually a really awesome following. His videos are really nice too. He's got some really, really cool videos on Instagram.
So I'm guessing it's Harbor Area SoCal Fishing on Instagram?
Yeah, just how you see it there is
Perfect.
how you see it on Instagram.
All right,
But
perfect.
for you guys that are fishing inside the harbor, come down, check these out. These things are really awesome.
All right, very good. Thank you so very much. Thanks for your kind words also, and thanks for the hard work you're putting in to bring this from your garage someday to a much bigger production. I have no doubt that's going to happen. Jason, Manila Ice Cream. Good evening, guys. Hey, Sam, what are those clear boxes over your left shoulder?
Clear boxes.
Those?
Lead heads, I guess. It's probably all lead heads. Yeah, mostly they're going to be these get some heads. I mean, this whole section right here is all get some heads. All sea bass oriented hooks. They're all the 8.0 strong mustad hooks that they use on here. It's like a 3X hook, but yeah, this sea bass thing has just taken over. And so we've had a whole section here. So I think that's what you're talking about. Is that or my water? Or one of the two.
Everybody's focused on my water, apparently, tonight. By the way,
It's a Christmas miracle.
yeah, really. You know, a lot of those sea bass up in the Channel Islands are being taken on lead as opposed to dropper loop here
Yeah.
recently. A lot. So that's really been a thing.
Yeah, we had a guy come in today that he was just like, man, we spent like 4 hours trying to make squid, trying to jig it up, and they go start fishing, catch all the fish on this stuff. They didn't even use it. He's like, man, why do you even do that?
Yeah, I know, right? You had 4 hours of fishing you missed there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Mike Reeder says, sold.
There you go.
Right on, Mike. Dansky, hey, Phil, is the Ensenada trip still happening? I've missed the last few shows, so I'm out of the
That was
loop.
last week, wasn't it?
I don't know. Also, can you talk about what the night bite production is? Dansky, I'm going to let Sam explain that. Mackie or Anthony, what are the dates of that trip?
Of what?
19th, Ensenada. I believe it's
Yes, 19th.
September 19th, if that's a Friday. So it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Paulina just got us the information on the hotel and the itinerary and everything else. So we should be able to release that in about a week. I just wanted to talk to her about a few details and work that out. But yes, definitely. We're going to go down there. There'll be kind of an icebreaker kind of event the first night. And then Saturday, we're all going fishing. And then we're going to come back and have ceviche at Paulina's Landing with her mother. And she's making some of the best homemade chili rellenos. Her and her mom are both great cooks. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be September 19th. Scott Bucher tried to buy up all the spots, but he couldn't afford it. So I think there's still room for everybody out there. And, some red roses. Scott said he'd kill me if I said this, but, red roses for Paulina might go a long way. Do you know a woman out there who doesn't like red roses and chocolates?
Not too many.
Yeah, there you go. Scott, is that okay?
September in Ensenada should be a good
Scott's PO'd at me right now, man. Let me tell you. All right, that's going to be fun. Over 100 people watching the show. We love you. What is that Night Bite production all about there? Sam, you want to tell them?
So, yeah, I was telling earlier, Mike Reeder, super good customer and just a great friend. I've known him for over 20 years. He's been shopping with me for a long time. Him and his buddies kind of put this together. It's kind of a idea, like a fun thing, really. I mean, it's not like it's something that, they're working on, they got a casting car, nothing like that, but idea for a movie. And I just saw it as something that was just cool, just the name and the images for the kind of fishing that we've had for the last 10 years of fishing for this tuna. So these guys go on these tuna trips and they talk about this night bite thing. And first time I heard it just about a week ago, I was like, man, that sounds pretty cool. I bet you could sell a bunch of those T-shirts. So the T-shirts are really the kind of quote unquote fund the movie production. I don't know how far they're going to get doing that, but I guess if you don't ever start, you never get there. So I think he's going to have some for sale. I don't know if there's a website yet or not. We're going to have some that are going to be part of our raffle next week.
Yep.
And so you'll be able to get one that way on the raffle. But otherwise, get a hold of Mike Reeder. He's the guy there. I'm not really sure how many he has or what sizes or things like that. But so this is going to be the one on the left is the one that kind of talks or is showing the the production company, I guess, and this one on the right is more of a movie poster. And I think he's got a couple of these different ones for the movie poster. So you guys should check it out. Or maybe I had that backwards. The gray one is the one for the production, and the black one is for the movie poster.
All right, Mike Reeder, I know a great voiceover guy for your trailer for that movie, man. I got a guy in mind for you. Scott, do you agree?
A great guy?
Yes, great guy.
Or maybe just
Great.
a guy.
No, a great guy. Fantastic guy. Jeff Lingle drinks water all the time.
I'm sure you'll fit his budget.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I've taken a vow of poverty like the Franciscan fathers. Dansky says, where Jeff Lingle says, Scott is the best. Never, ever misses with the gaff. Is that true? Anthony?
I'm sorry?
Does Scott ever miss with the gaff? Never, right?
I don't think he uses the gaff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mike Krankovich.
He's allowed to.
Mike Krankovich. Oh, by the way, up in Fort Bragg area, Mendocino County, they are transitioning in the albacore season
Whoa.
just a bit north. There you are.
There you go.
They're
Just a bit
catching
north.
albacore up there? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, just a bit north.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Tyler Tanaka is back with another observation or perhaps a question this time. Hey, Sam, when you are fishing for halibut black and white sea bass at Cedros, do you use a regular dropper loop or reverse dropper loop? I'm asking for a friend.
He's going down there a few times this year.
Yeah.
Tyler, I just use a regular dropper loop. Nothing fancy. Those fish down there are a little bit more willing than up here. So I think a reverse or a regular would probably work just fine. I happen to be using a regular one last year when I caught my fish, but I think you'd be okay either way.
All right, very good. Ken Trenholm says, I almost forgot Phil. Mom says hello. And as do I say hello to you. In the boat fishing, Phil, circle or J hooks for dropper loop white sea bass? I say J hooks. What do you say,
Yeah,
Sam?
J hooks primarily. And as far as just a model and a brand, that owner Aki twist hook is by far the #1 hook.
All right, yeah. Circle hooks for tuna, right? Offshore.
Pretty
And
much, yeah.
all right, Andrew H. Hey, Sam, do you have Inside Sport Fishing DVDs sitting around?
I don't think so. I might.
He's got all his stuff online, doesn't he, Mike Folks?
Yeah. I think if you go online, you can have access to it. Yeah, it's on Amazon as well.
Amazon.
Yeah, if you have
What's Scott?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
yeah.
And Amazon Prime, their big sale is coming up in July, right? What do you call that? Prime Week or whatever it is? You know what that is?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right, yeah, I think you can find that online. Andrew H., we just talked to. Tangle Diver. Good evening, Friedman Familia. Tangle Diver, good to have you with us. Tim P., I love those hats. Is that merch for sale? It is, absolutely. Send me a text, Tim, and I'll get you the info. 657-227-6459. I'll repeat that in one more second. Eric, better late than ever. Evening, Friedman Adventures family from Eastern Arizona. Eric, always good to have you with us. 657-227-6459. Brad Billings. Hi, Phil and Sam. Sam, on the bigger non-tungsten jigs, do you rig your hooks on the bottom, the top, or both?
Yeah, usually just one side. I've done them both ways, top and bottom. Or top or bottom, and I haven't really seen a huge difference in hookup ratio or landing ratio, nothing like that. So kind of whatever you're comfortable with, but definitely only on one side of the jig.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Another great question there, Brad. Chris Navarro says, Sam, how are you fishing the flukes for white sea bass, rod, reel, line, and technique? Need to know it all. What size, lead head? Lay it into me, Sam.
Yeah, so on the lead head size, to make it easy, 1 ounce to 2 ounce. That's going to be the thing. If you're going to be using these larger flukes, more than likely you're going to be using a hook with at least a 6.0, if not an 8.0 hook, like these Get Some heads have. Color, like I was saying earlier, doesn't really matter. White, obviously, is the most popular, but you have a green one, a pink one, orange one. Those also do pretty well, so you'll be okay with that. As far as a rod and reel, a lot of guys have been fishing with a bait caster, a 300 or 400 size bait caster, and a longer kind of parabolic rod. Lately, that Rain Shadow 1207 and 1208 have been kind of a hot item for those guys, and it's really this year that it's kind of come into its own. Even though guys have been kind of building rods specifically for this technique for a few years now, this year it's been coming. It's a common term now that people call and ask for a quote unquote fluke rod. In fact, I can't see why next year we're not going to see some brand of rods called a certain model a fluke rod. But as far as a ready-made rod, something like 8 to 9 foot. Most guys are going 9 foot or even longer. Something rated in like a 20 to 40 or something like that. But definitely a little bit more parabolic, almost like a all graphite rod. So maybe like United Composite. Unfortunately, they don't make a ready-made rod, but a 90 mag or 90 mega in their GP series is a really popular one. That one from Rain Shadow is a 1088 and a 1087, and also that's a 9 foot. The 10 foot is going to be a 1207 and a 1208 blank. And I think in the Phoenix rod, maybe like a 908 would be a good one if you wanted to get something off the shelf as well. That's their Black Diamond. 908 or even a 907 would be good for that too.
All right, very good. Great questions. Thanks, everybody. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel and tick that rotten, filthy little bell. Mike Reeder says, Sam, we talked in the shop about fishing these bluefin tuna with 80-pound spectra. Easier to cast and crank. What say you?
Definitely, Mike. Yeah, good point. I kind of left that out earlier in the technique side of it. Like I said before, we were kind of fishing those heavier jigs, 400, 500, and even up to 800 grams, but more like 500 gram jigs became that really the norm. Now that guys are trying to fish lighter jigs, similar to like rock fishing, where instead of using like 30-pound mono, you use like 30-pound braid. Well, you're going to get down with a lot less weight. And with these jigs, if you want to use a 250-gram jig, instead of using a 130-pound braid, which, man, we must have filled at least 1,000 reels with a 130-pound meter braid, over the last 10 years. Now guys are using 80-pound braid, and we found that 80-pound braid is more than strong enough. The only thing that you're going to get in a heavier braid is maybe a little bit more assistance with rubbing on the boat or getting in a bad tangle or something like that. Might give you a little bit more time before it finally parts and gives way. But definitely more of guys are using that 80-pound and are finding that they can really, really stay vertical better on the smaller jigs. And then also too, you can cast it. Because now with that 80-pound braid, you can use a smaller reel because it holds enough line.
Yeah.
And you can cast
like
a
this
smaller
reel, right?
Like this one right here.
Yeah.
And you can cast it much better than you would a bigger, like a 30 wide or something like that.
Compare and contrast the 80-pound to the 65-pound. Is that too light?
Yeah, well, so that's another thing too. I know we talked about that a few shows back. That, kind of towards the end of last year, I had some customers that caught some really big fish on 65-pound. Now, until I see it being done, or unless I've done it a few times, I hate to recommend it. But I mean, in theory, you shouldn't be able to break that 65-pound either. Even on a reel like this, or even a Mackay or something like that, we're not really going to be dialing it up much more than like 30 pounds of drag typically, even though those reels will produce more drag than that. So that being said, you shouldn't have any problem with the 65. But once again, I'm not recommending it only because I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
But in theory, it should work. As for now, I think that 80-pound has proven itself. And we've sold a lot of it, and a lot of guys have had some success with fish up to 200 pounds or even bigger. So, but the other side of it, even more so, whether or not it breaks or not, the fact that you can put it on a smaller reel that you can cast,
Yes.
that's what's giving you that advantage as well.
Sam, I remember being a kid. It's kind of an analogous here, but on the
There's
Redondo
no way
special.
you remember being a kid. There's no way.
And I was like going to fish 12-pound for calico bass.
Yeah.
And I was worried it was too light.
Yeah.
And one of these guys, Ray Greenwood, Mike Conklin, one of those guys on the boat goes, take that 12-pound, tie it to that cleat, and pull on it and break it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you can really pull on this. You can pull way harder than you think.
Yeah.
You can.
Especially
so,
when you learn how to tie a good knot.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Dansky. Hey, Phil, do you believe the reports that traveling through Baja is extra dangerous right now? I've never put too much stake into those reports, but I have heard more people than usual bringing it up. So, Dansky, that's a little bit of a complicated question. Let me put it this way. So, when you do risk assessment, the question is not, can a bad thing happen to me? Yes, a bad thing can definitely happen to you in Mexico. It can happen to you out the front door here. It can happen to you on the freeway. The question is, what are the chances a bad thing are going to happen to me? And Dansky, I've been hearing this since I was 17 years old and drove to Laredo. My parents said, don't listen to your uncle. My uncle said, you're going to get your heads cut off and blah, 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 blah. They sent us down. We were kids, and we drove a Jeep all the way to Laredo. You definitely want to not stray into the bad parts of town, like Los Angeles or Chicago or New York. You want to stay in the tourist areas. You stay in the fishing areas. Obey the rules. You're going to a foreign country. They have different rules. You want to be up on that. You should be fine. Now, can a bad thing happen? Of course it can. It can happen anywhere in the world. But the chances are not. And, sometimes people in Mexico, the Mexican people, they get a bad rap when this kind of talk goes on. You're not going to find more loving, decent people who've bailed me out of so many flat tires, and I'm such a numb nuts, can I say that, when it comes to like fixing my car or anything else, and there's always somebody there to help. You're not going to find people like Paulina and her mother and her family and all the people I've met for the 5 decades I've been traveling in Mexico. They're really good. I know there's a lot of talk because of what's going on up here with ice and everything else. Anthony and I were just there. We didn't see any of it. We didn't feel any of it. It was all good. So I think there's not much to worry about. Sam, you concur with that?
Same thing,
Yeah.
Guys go there, thousands and thousands of people cross the border every day.
Yeah, I mean, you look at
Thousands.
how many people are crossing the border and going out, and there's no, who was arguing with me? Oh, Tom Durr was arguing with me about it the other day. And he was telling me, oh, you're crazy, man. Yeah. And I go, Tom, show me the stats on how many tourists have been hurt. And I go, oh, now you're starting to sound like you don't want to discuss it. I don't want to discuss it anymore. And I go, yeah, because I'm asking you to prove what
it.
you're saying.
Yeah.
So, Tom, if you're watching, screw you.
We
No.
walked across the border.
Did we?
Yeah, remember?
We walked across? Oh, coming out. Yeah, we did. Because George Feldman, the guy we're with, had the global pass, and
yeah.
they won't give Anthony and I one because of our criminal history. And so we had to walk back across. And no problems at all. I mean, I think you're going to be amazed when you go down there. All right, Kyle, I hope that answers Dansky for you. Kyle Johnson, good evening. Phil, tuning in late today. Kyle, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Isaac, Sam, do you carry any bluefin tuna jigs or the tuna bomb jigs?
I think he's probably asking about the BFT brand.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So we carry those. Basically it's a tuna bomb. It's an Eddie bomb, but it's got some coloration. So we do carry those.
All right, Sam, help me with this. What is it? Eric, like, who ya?
Like, whoa.
No, Eric, like, whoa. Hey, Sam, looking for a fun night. Scott? Oh, fun light tackle setup for the 3Bs and small yellowtail out of Catalina Island. Phoenix M1 inshore, 82H, or Black Diamond. You're pushing it here, Eric. I'm telling you, 808 MH/809H to pair with Lexa. Opinions on those two style rods, please.
So that M1 inshore 82H it's a pretty stiff rod. It really kind of is more of a lure rod than it is a bait rod. I actually would go with that 808. It's rated 15 to 40. It sounds light because of the 15 part of it, but a Catalina or a 3/4 day boat, typically you're going to be fishing more of like 20-pound line, in that 20 or 25, and that 808 would be fine for that. The one thing about Lexa is that a lot of times you're looking for a rod that has a trigger of some sort, which that Phoenix M1 is going to have a trigger, so that's going to kind of have a nice pairing. But I like the action better on that 808. It's going to be a little bit more versatile for live bait fishing, throwing plastics, smaller jigs. Definitely not going to be a jig rod, but with that Lexa, you're probably not looking specifically for a jig rod, more of an all-around rod.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Great answer, great question. Roger Massage and his lovely wife, Ruth. Great to see you guys with us. Hey, Phil and Sam, can you post the fishing trips you have coming up? Roger, we have one trip with openings. That is our 2-day trip on board the Apollo. That departs September 23rd on my son's birthday. So I know that date really, really well out of C4 Sport Fishing. And then, of course, we have some free events like beach fishing. I think our next one's going to be July 5th. But our next fishing trip, unless we set something else up in the meantime with Daniel up there on the Island Spirit, I've been talking about doing that, will be September the 23rd. It's a 2-day trip on board the Apollo out of C4 Sport Fishing in San Diego. Just reach out to me if you want any more information after the show, and I'd be happy to get that for you. Chris Navarro says, thanks, Sam. I am. And Mike Krikovich wants to know, did Scott Buchard bring a bunch of wings for tonight's event? And the answer is no. In fact,
You'll get them later, though.
yes. Well, now Scott, he came up and whispered. Did you see him whispering in my ear a moment ago? He's talking about going to a coffee shop tonight. No idea why. He wants to take Doug Tilk to a coffee shop. Doug, do you drink coffee in the evening?
Negative.
No, he does not. So, Scott, what will he do at a coffee shop if he doesn't drink coffee? Scott's ignoring us. So we'll go on with the show, see if we can get an answer later. But like Sam said, if we don't go to the coffee shop, Sam will be providing wings for everybody tonight.
I will.
All right, Sam.
Scott. Oh, yeah, Scott. Scott liked that, actually. Chris Navarro says, right now it's more dangerous for my brown ass here in Los Angeles. Is Chris Navarro, what is Chris Navarro?
Mexican.
Oh, yes? I did. Yeah, of course he is. Yes, okay. There you go.
It's hard to tell with his Irish last name, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And first name.
Yeah, really. All right, Mike Krikovich. Oh, no, I'm going back to that again. Hey, guys, says Sheba Cat. Hey, Sheba Cat, good to have you with us. Big shout out to Scott and the dog, Mike Krinkovich. Fishing Cowboy. Does using Max Quattro 100 Spectra the equivalent or near the same as 80-pound Spectra? And how is it in the water with a heavy current? Fishing Cowboy, we love you.
So it's pretty dang similar.
Is that Fishing Cowboy?
yeah.
Oh, shoot.
It's pretty dang similar. You are going to get maybe a little bit more strength in the 80. Quite not the same as you would with standard 100 pounds Max Quattro, but it is thinner. So it's going to be as thin as 80. So as far as your jig fishing is concerned, that Max 100 will probably be very similar to your 80 standard, if you want to look at it in those terms.
All right, very good. And Fishing Cowboy is sitting right in front of me, and I didn't even realize it. So good to have you here. I've already told you that. In the boat fishing, sorry for all these questions. No. That's what we're here for. Keep them coming, man. What tips do you have for me to really get bit and separate myself from all the other people on the boat for these white sea bass? That's a question that a lot of people have,
Yeah.
and it's a good one. It's a legit question. What do you say, Sam?
Pay attention to your crew. If there's anything going on in a certain island that you're fishing or a certain area, just kind of listen to what those guys are doing. Those guys are there every day and seeing the trends, whether it's going to be more of a reverse dropper loop or maybe a higher dropper loop or putting 2 squids on or a jig or fishing these flukes. I mean, even those fish kind of get a little bit of a change of diet every once in a while and they want to eat something else. Sometimes they're eating fin bait. Not very often, but sometimes they are. And so really kind of get together with those guys and make sure that, that you listen to them and do what they are advising you on. Those guys up there are doing it every day. And right now it seems like you just got to go fishing and you're going to have a good chance. But if anything, check with those guys first and don't be afraid to ask them twice. Maybe the conditions did change and maybe they're going to have a different opinion once you guys get started than what they told you at the dock. So talk to those guys.
Couldn't agree more with Sam. Definitely, when you're rolling out that night, they're going to be out there asking, can I help tie you up? And just tell them, hey, man, this is my first white sea bass trip. I really want to do things right. How's my rig? Can you help me out? Just go through all that. And then, like Sam said, in the morning, say, are we good with this rig still? Maybe conditions change. And they're going to say, yeah or no. Man, you need to change too. And just, if you throw yourself at the crew that way, they'll take really good care of you if you're on a boat with a good crew. And if I remember, you are. So I would definitely
Another thing, too, that you might think of doing is, even at the tackle shop there at the landing, those guys sometimes might get some information or at least tell you, hey, you make sure you got one of these and one of these. And maybe you already have it. Maybe, you came in here and we told you to get this and you get down to the landing and they're like, oh, yeah, that's good. But maybe there's something that developed, just that day. And they might tell you, like, you know what, man, we're going to have a little bit of wind tonight. instead of your 4-ounce torpedoes, take some 10-ounce torpedoes or something along those lines. So make sure you talk to those guys at the landing, and then once again talk to them on the boat. And if you talk to them early enough, a lot of times if you need to buy something, you can get back into the landing and buy what you need. So those guys, that's what they're there for. They want to sell you a ticket to get on the boat, and they want to make sure that you're taken care of. But by and large, they want you to be successful. So that's what you want to do.
All right, Jeff Lingle, dinner time. Good night, all. Jeff, thanks again. Have a great trip out tonight. Hope you land on those BFTs in the morning. Fish Donkey, get both. All right, do you understand that?
Maybe a guy talking about one rod or another, maybe.
Yes. Scott Bouchard says the Independence has 3 spots on your trip. Hey, our November trip has 3 spots that opened up.
In November, huh?
Did people find out you're on the trip and they're bailing out? All right. I'll let Philip know. Philip wants to go and Patrick want to go. Can you call them right now, Scott, and let them know, please? He will not help you on the Independence. Brian Pfeiffer, I asked Scott to help, and he turned you down. I'm sorry. All right. Let's see. Tyler Tanaka. Phil, you need to confirm if this is a Vietnamese coffee shop or not. Scott, is this a Vietnamese coffee shop? He doesn't know what we're talking about. I don't know. Why, Tyler? What goes on in a Vietnamese coffee shop that doesn't go on in a regular coffee shop? Just let us know. I've never been to one. Kyle Johnson. Duck Fishing Cowboy's not buying that for a moment. My wife's off in Costa Rica right now, so I'm single, right?
I guess.
Yeah, right.
You will be.
Her ears are like fuego en mis orejas, Felipe. Kyle Johnson, going back to Sam's opinion on line capacity, would you trust fishing 80-pound on an accurate 600 or keep it 65-pound?
Kind of depends on what you're targeting. If that's going to be your nighttime tuna fishing reel, I mean, an accurate 600, it should hold enough 80-pound, no problem. But generally, that's going to be kind of more of it's actually a reel in between these sizes here. I prefer a little bit bigger reel myself, just because you typically have a larger handle, maybe a lower low gear. Although that 600 has a 2-to-1 low gear, so it's not too bad. But on your 80, on your 600, I think an 80-pound is probably what I would want to have on there.
All right, excellent. Chris Isaac from the El Patron is watching and wants a shout out from us. Give him a shout out, Sam. Chris and his son Christian and everybody that makes the El Patron so great, including Scott Bouchard now. And Anthony, we send you our very best El Patron tomorrow morning. www.longbeachsportfishing.org.
And people should book now, because after tomorrow's performance with the crew members that they're going to have, they're going to sell out immediately for the rest of the year.
Actually, they were on there. When were you on there? Yesterday? Yeah, they were on there yesterday together.
It's already happening.
They're selling out, man. Yes, I'm telling you. Scott, I congratulate you. Scott won't even look up. You notice?
He's focused, man. That guy's focused.
Yeah. Who knows what he's doing over there? All right. Very good. It's Mike Reeder. Mike, thanks again. Sam, over the years, we talked a lot. Practice tested many Spectrum mono knots. Albright, RP, the Royal Polaris. Tony Pena, are you seeing more FG knots casting bluefin tuna jigs?
Definitely. Good point there, Mike. Yeah. The FG knot is kind of one of those jigging style knots. It's a lot more slender. It looks very complicated when you look at the videos or you look at some illustrations on how to do it, but it's a repetitive motion, so it's not too bad. I personally haven't really gotten it down that well. I haven't practiced it a whole lot, but even besides this tuna fishing for being able to cast, I've seen it quite a bit even for guys that are fishing big fish down on these 18-day trips and stuff like that. It's a knot that I've seen quite a bit more. So that FG knot is one that if you haven't tried it or checked it out, you guys should try to learn it. It's a really, really good knot, and it's proven itself to have a really, really high breaking strength. So good one there, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Mike Krinkovich says, me and Scott are a lock on the Independence 8-day in November. Oh, Phil, you can come along as well. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Sal Mercado. Hello, just wanted to say thank you, Sam. Sold me used, but I know it was new. You just wanted me to give me a deal. You want to give me a deal and help me out with a Phoenix Rod Exchange. Class act. Much respect, Sal. Thank you,
Sal.
Sam.
That's awesome, and I know who that is. He's a super cool guy, and glad I was able to help him out. It just happened to be that I had exactly what he needed, in the used case, and it was like damn near brand new. It was full of Spectra, exactly what he needed.
Yeah.
It's almost like somebody just brought it in just for him. So
Perfect.
That worked out great.
Glad to hear that, Sal. Thank you for being here tonight. Quintine says, hey, Friedman Adventure family, what line, braid, and top shot is recommended for our local surf fishing?
What were you guys using mostly?
I
that
fish
day?
20-pound Spectra.
20
and
pound
then
Spectra, yeah.
like 20.
6 pound
If I'm
or-
throwing a jig, which I
Oh,
mostly
yeah.
am, I'm throwing 20. I go 20.
I go light. I fish 6 pound quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't like
Even
that.
straight 6 pound mono, and yeah, it's worked out for me. I don't hardly throw a lot of Spectra.
Well, I'm saying I don't like it because it's a personal thing. I get people that like fishing
Mm-hmm.
light line, but
Well, I don't like you, all right?
I never seen you fish.
yeah.
yeah, really.
When's the last time you fished there, Phil?
That's a good question, man. I don't know.
Is it when you were a kid on the?
Oh,
Ronaldo
actually,
special?
no, it was with Paulina. I actually kind of fished. I would toss it out and then get to the bottom, and she'd give it a 5 count. And if I didn't have a fish, she'd take over.
Okay.
So that's what we were doing. So there it is. I like fishing heavy only because I grew up kind of in that kind of environment where guys were just real
I'm
serious
not sure about that. You haven't grown up at it at all.
Yeah, that's true. I will give you that. All right. Quintine says pound test fluoro. Are you fishing fluoro?
I think
I
he was
am.
talking about line. Yeah.
Yeah, I fish fluoro for sure.
6 pound mono for me.
Yep, there you are. Catching those Corbinas, man.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, who is it? Benji Kim. He's a guy that says surf fish are not line shy.
No, they're
And
not.
he says they are absolutely, you can fish 25 and get bit all
I just
day
think
long.
because I do fish all mono, that 6 pound cast better.
Uh-huh.
So that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
I think if I
Gotcha.
was fishing Spectra, maybe I'd probably fish 20 pound Spectra.
Yeah, there you go. Mike Krinkovich, yo, Sam, I got a bigger reel in my bad swinging.
Oh, no, man.
Mike,
Gosh.
lay off the scotch
Yeah.
there tonight a little bit. Calm down, Mike. Yeah, Mike, we have children watching this show. Please. Yeah, boy, you mentioned coffee at a Vietnamese coffee shop. Mike goes nuts. Can I tell you? Manila ice cream. Look at Doug Tilker's like, you can't believe the foolishness that's going on, the depravity. This show is degenerating into the abyss.
Losing viewers by the second.
Yeah, man, look at them all go. Oh my God, we've never had this many viewers. Keep it going, Mike. Manila Ice Cream, just wanted to say thanks again, Phil, for putting Saturday on. Hey, Jason, it was great seeing you. That was a lot of fun. Even though the weather was a little questionable, slight understatement there, it was a good day with great conversations amongst everybody. Yeah, I saw you and James going at it for, must have been an hour, Jason. It was good to see everybody getting along. And of course, the highlight is when Lucky comes jamming into the whole thing. And we got to meet his mother this time. JD, his father, was on the Grande fishing. We normally have him there, but this time we got to meet his mom. And that was really, really special for all of us. Giver Plus. Hello, Sam. I know it's an odd question, but I was curious. Too much island tackle charges for 80. How much island tackle charges for 80-pound chrome spec braid per 100 yards?
That is a weird question, isn't it? No, I think we charge about 18 cents a yard. I'd have to go look at the computer there, but I think 18 cents a yard. So it'd be, I guess that's $18 for 100 yards. Yeah,
All right, there you have it.
we do it by the yard.
Christian says, hey, Sam, I'm thinking about getting one of those Shimano Osha Jigger 2000 NRHG reels. I want to fish 50-pound on it. What is a good slow pitch jig rod that you would recommend?
So the rod itself, there's so many of them, but it's really going to be tied to the size jig you're using. So just kind of be conscious of that when you're looking that up. But there's a ton of them out there from Shimano makes some great ones. Okuma, we have some of the ones from 310 Rod Works that are good, but it really kind of depends on number one, the jig size, and then the style of jigging that you're going to do. As far as your line size, I think you probably would want to go a little bit lighter than that. That 50-pound is going to limit you sometimes as far as how deep you're going to go, how much line you're going to have on that reel, how deep you're going to go, and then what size jig you're going to have to use to overcome the diameter of the line. So come check out some rods if you want to look at some, but we have quite a variety here from Phoenix, Okuma, Daiwa, Shimano, and the 310 Rod Works. I know we got a few more over there too, but there's a lot of good ones. But look at your jig size and really kind of key in on that.
All right. Anybody seen the movie 28 Years Later? Please let me know if it's worth seeing. The new zombie movie is getting very mixed reviews. I heard the first two were great. I didn't see those, but I want to go see this one because my wife wants to see it. And I go see it ahead of time because I got to translate the damn movie through the whole
You
thing.
need recommendations to see a movie? Just go see a movie.
Yeah, I'm going to go see it.
Yeah.
But I'd
okay.
like to hear from our
right.
audience. I trust their, whatever it is, their...
Opinion.
Yeah, there, thank you. All right, Israel de la Cruz is with us. Is it great to see you, my friend? Good evening, Phil, Sam, and the Friedman Adventure family. Sam, since you were out fishing recently, any tackle recommendations for a 2-day trip? I'll be with Jolene and Max on the Pacific Voyager on Sunday. Have a great trip. You couldn't be with two finer people, that is for sure. Max had a big night last night. 31 bluefin, 2/3 of those were over 100 pounds. Nice hit for Max. It was a little iffy for everybody else. The XL had good fishing also. What do you say, Sam? A 2-day trip, what should Israel bring with him?
I mean, right now, the bulk of that fishing has been nighttime fishing, so bigger gear. You no need to take anything super small, like 20 pound. Although, you never know, right? You never know. I would say you always want to take some of the just-in-case stuff, 30-pound test, 40-pound test maybe. But you're probably going to go right past into like 80 or 100-pound test. There has been a few fish caught on some sinker rigs and some really big ones. And so you're going to fish that same 80 or 100-pound. But primarily, if you were going to take one rod, it's going to be a nighttime fishing, jig fishing rod. I think 99.9% of the tuna that have been caught the last month or so have been at night. And so something appropriate for that is going to be the main deal for you guys, I think.
All right, Richard Fishy, 150. Hey, Phil, any sightings of bluefin on the banks? There's been fish out there from time to time, Richard, no doubt about it, on both Tanner and Cortez. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. There's been fish down on the Butterfly Bank, up there toward the Osborne Bank, up there around Santa Barbara Island. It's been vacillating all through there. On that backside of Clementi's where many of the boys have been focusing their attention. And then there's a southern zone where you can run down off Collinette way down there. I think that's where Jeff Lingle is headed this evening. So, yeah, the answer is it's been moving around, just has not been biting with the same kind of consistency that we're used to seeing. Now, having said that, you look back at the past week or so, and you had the Pacific Queen with a night where they had 99 bluefin tuna, not a night, a trip, over 100 pounds, and we're talking like, fishing's not that great, and it's like, what the heck universe are we truly in when you get a score like that? I mentioned the other day on the morning briefing, that's a score we should be talking about every day for the next 10 years. But we're spoiled.
Yeah.
We're really spoiled right now. So, the reality is you got to compare things to those big scores. And last night, a lot of guys had 0 to 10. Bluefin tuna, Max had 31. The XL had a big night. A couple other guys had some really good fishing, and some of that has been on the banks. Isaac, Sam, do you see guys going away from the bite leaders and just tying on heavy mono to their line straight to their jig for the bluefin tuna?
Not really. I mean, I think the bite leader is still kind of something that a lot of guys are using. It's such a small piece of material that it's not going to change your action a whole lot or something like that. Although I do see some guys, the jigging guys, the guys that are doing the real, vertical speed jigging, a lot of those guys are tying like 130 pounds directly to their jig. That's pretty common. The other day when I was fishing, I think 130 pound directly to the jig, but those fish that we got weren't really that big. They were like 80 to 100 pounds. I mean, still a giant fish, but not like that 250-pound monsters that takes you 3 or 4 hours to get or something like that. So to me, what I've seen, it's 1.5 foot or so leader. Not really going to change the action on your jig a whole lot. So from what I've seen, no, guys aren't really shying away from it. Yeah, maybe to a small degree, but not something that I've noticed. We still sell a ton of them every day, so I know guys are using them.
All right, Mike Krinkovich said that comment he made about something swinging around in his pants was a cocktail he had, I guess, and he thought that was a private message to Scott. He made a mistake and sent that out publicly. Chris Navarro says, Phil, do you know a guy named Todd Buckeridge? Oh, my God, Todd Buckeridge? No, I have no idea. Who is that? I may know the guy, but I don't. That name does not ring a bell with me. Freddie, Holy Spirit Fire. That's Freddie who wraps the rods?
No.
Or no? Oh, Freddie, Holy Spirit Fire. Much love, boys. Much love to you too. My friend Mike Reeder is back with us. And Mike says, Okay, Sam, back on the bluefin thing. What rod lengths for 100-pound are guys getting 7.5 XXH?
Yeah, mostly that XH and the CalStar, mostly an XH, but the 2XH is just as popular. The 2XH traditionally was kind of your 100-pound rod for fishing on the longer lower banks trips or 15-day trip or something like that. And so we kind of just adopted that as the 100-pound rod. But more and more guys are fishing that XH, which is plenty strong. I think it's rated 50 to 120. The 2XH is 60 to 130. Both rods fish 100-pound, no problem.
All right, 74 shipwreck. Sam, what's the best size shoe for fishing? I would say anything you're comfortable in, right?
I think so.
I wear a 14. What about you?
I wear a 10 and a half.
All right, there you are. Sam? Is that what he's talking
I
about?
don't know.
Or did-
Best shoe. I think he's just being facetious.
Okay. Mike Krinkovich says he loves all of the free. I'm getting a little punchy here, man. I got to get a cup of coffee tonight, Scott. Help me out here. Mike Krinkovich, love all the Friedman Adventure and Sam Show stuff. Forgive my funniest, but it's all about La Familia. That's true. Oh, that's Mike Krinkovich again. Mike's on a roll tonight. Giver Plus. Hey, Phil, have you heard any news about Santa Barbara Islands, yellows biting there, or just rockfish? No, I have heard some private guys who fish out there pretty regularly getting both yellows and sea bass. So there's been some pops on that yellow gets up around the tide sometimes. You'll see the birds get on it there at Santa Barbara Island. You run over, it's nice, great fish. Not an everyday occurrence, but there's been some good hits there at SBI. You hearing the same thing, Sam?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's a smaller island, so typically you don't get like those big scores where you get 10 boats in there and they all catch in limits.
Yeah.
Usually it's kind of a one-off thing. A lot of those guys out of Redondo, I think, are kind of, target that place a little bit more just because of where it sits. Those Ventura guys just really don't fish Santa Barbara a whole lot. You know, it's got to be pretty bad up there, Channel Islands, to come down. So the guys who do fish it typically have it all to themselves.
Yeah, and those Redondo boys like to fish that quite a bit, and they do pretty good out there.
They do
Red
real
Pill says, good evening, gentlemen. Sam, what 9-foot CalStar or Seeker would you recommend for fishing the fluke and possibly the 3 pounds? Thanks in advance.
Possibly the 3 pounds, the 3 Bs.
The 3 Bs, bass, bonito, and barracuda.
So in a
Hey, Scott, I blew that one.
CalStar, I think you're probably looking at a 900 XL or an L. Probably the L, probably a little bit more appropriate. In a Seeker, they have that SS CLB 90F. That's probably one of the more popular rods, or blanks actually, that I see for that. I think they have some stuff for their inshore rods, maybe like a CSW 909 or even a 908 would be good as well. I think that pretty much covers it as far as what I would consider their better rods for that.
All right, Mike Krinkovich, who is on a total roll here tonight with us. Man, oh man. Doug Tilk is enjoying every single comment we have from him. He says, spoiled, let's go to the all-night bartender in Redondo tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott, are you in? Scott's got the biggest smile I've ever seen on his face, Mike, right now. You better get down here and pick him up. He's in for that all-night bartender stuff. Chris Navarro, great question, Red Pill. Would my Calcutta 930 FA rod be a good rod for white sea bass flukes with a Tranx 400 PG?
Yeah, that rod's a little faster than most guys are using. But that being said, Chris, I think you'd be fine with that. That'd be a nice combo. Hopefully you can get out fishing. I know he's kind of nursing kind of recouping from a surgery. So hopefully you can get out soon, Chris.
The cranker is back again.
Yes.
Dang, let me regress. But the barge was the big deal in Redondo back in our day. That includes you, Phil. You know what's funny about that he's mentioning the barge? I was telling Anthony this too. Came up in my memories. Remember when Eddie was here and he was talking about the barge? And it came up, so I posted it, and people are listening to it again. But I told Anthony, I'm sitting there, and Eddie, he had an audience, huge audience, and everybody's just enthralled with what he's talking about. And you walked over to me and go, why aren't you videotaping this?
Yeah,
and then I started videotaping.
Because you had come in to do some other videos.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, dude, that's the guy you should be videoing
Right.
there. Yeah.
And I caught all that, and
That was cool.
that was really cool. Those were some really great memories. And the cranker keeps it going tonight, man. All night bartenders, the barge. We're loving this guy. James Williams, hello, guys. Great show. So 130-pound bite leader, heavy enough, question mark? Phil George from the Amigo. hooked me up at Bass Pro Shops. He says, hello, James. Thank you so much. George is a great guy. I got to get over there and say hi to him. Thanks for being here tonight, James. And Sam has the answer to your question.
So yeah, it should be good enough, but you know, most guys are using 200 pound. 200 pounds probably going to be your more common size. And some guys use even heavier, 300 pound, even 400 pound. But I would say 200 pound is kind of more the standard of what guys are using for bite leaders.
Manila Ice Cream. Jason says, would either of you ever pull a yellow or blue fin on a spinning reel, even though the conventional seems to be the most popular? I can answer for Sam. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, we got many yellowfin on a spinning rod.
Yeah, I guess I would. I kind of am a conventional guy, but yeah, why not? I guess maybe.
You're the
I'm
most
kind of like
unconventional person I've ever met.
Thank you. I will take that wear that as a badge of honor. Now we have people coming to Scott's defense, or looking out for him, I should say. Isaac says, hey, Scott has to work tomorrow.
Yeah, he does.
So he can't go to the all-night bartender.
What time you guys got to get there? 4 o'clock? 4 a.m.
4 a.m. Scott,
3.
Scott, are you expecting a ride home from me tonight? Good. He didn't answer. I'm not
Good.
taking him
You're off.
home.
You're off the hook.
If he would have said something, then maybe. Thank God, Lord. I love you. Mad Dog. Yeah, you're right, Sack. We got to get up and be at the landing at 4 a.m. There you are. There's your answer. Mike Krinkovich is back again. I'm loving it. Mike, keep it rocking and rolling. I mess up on not reading the post, but I meant to post it's all about the barge.
Yeah, he did.
Damn, Mike. Yeah, now I get it. Mackie says 6 spots open to fish with the dog and Scott on Wednesday. And Mackie might even make an appearance on that trip. As the word is out on the Southern California coast about the incredible crew on the El Patron.
It's growing.
Man, this is going to create a legend that will live on forever. I don't know why Doug is laughing. I think he's laughing because it's true.
I'd rather go out on the barge.
He'd rather go on the barge, and that sank 30 years
On the
ago.
Voyager. Barge boat.
The Voyager. You remember the Voyager?
Double decker.
Yes, exactly. Whale watch boat too.
And
He
the Jocko.
Yeah,
Jocko was the other one.
that's right. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Hey, Tom Honecker. Tom, good evening, my friend. Hello, gentlemen. Sam, what is your thoughts on the Okuma Lihos 12NS as a Wahoo bomb reel? The gear ratio seems good for sinking bombs. Tom, thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's okay. I know a lot of guys do use that reel for that. I prefer a little bit wider reel. I probably would go with the standard 12 myself. I just like the fact that with that wider reel, when you make a long cast and let your jig sink out, you're going to have so much line off the reel that out there where the fish are, as you're winding, because you've lost a lot of diameter, your speed's going to be lower. So even though it has a high gear ratio, that's kind of based on a full spool as far as the inches per crank. As you start losing diameter, each crank, you're going to be picking up less line because it's a smaller diameter that's turning. So I prefer a little bit wider reel myself, but I know that 12 narrow is a popular one too.
All right, big raffle next Monday. Make sure you send Chuck Zimmer a text tonight, 310-918-1448 from Z Custom Rods. Z Custom Rods. Z Custom. Where is he? He's back there geeking out with Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah, on rod wrapping. All right, and there's the reels. They're going to be great. Those are go. We're going to have some fishing trips in the raffle and a lot more. Where is Mike Krinkovich? I don't see a comment from him. I know you're dying for it.
He's coming up.
Oh, he is. Okay. Mike Reeder says, we used to buy tickets for live bait on the Redondo Fishing Pier next to Polly's. Yep, Doug remembers. I remember. Sam remembers. These kids don't remember, I'm sure. But then off
live.
on the Isle of Redondo. Do you remember that, Mackie? No.
Wasn't it gone in like 95?
I don't know.
Maybe I was conceived before then.
Yeah, around there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, way after that. Maybe
I'm thinking about like
2005, maybe. Yeah.
I remember buying bait tickets on the Mondstadt Pier, the old one over on the other side. Yeah, right? Yeah, and doing those sliders where you'd cast a sinker out, take a, what do you call it? Freaking swivel like, and then slide your bait down. You remember doing that?
Yeah, I remember having my own scoop net, and then you distract them and just get some free bait.
Really? Hey, look over there. I like it, Sam. What do you think about that, Scott? He likes it. All right, there you go. Coffee night tonight with Scott Buchert. So you can sober Krinkovich up if he shows up. All right, in the boat fishing. Glad you're back with us again. 8-inch fluke to big. Is it too big for the white sea bass?
No.
No, not even.
It's
If
the
so, what
standard.
would you recommend, and what would you recommend I rig it with? Sam, take it away.
Yeah, so that 8-inch has become a standard. I'm sure if someone made a 10-inch, it'd be okay as well too. But typically these are the 8-inch ones here. Definitely not too big. If you think about it too, I mean this is about the size of a squid, so they eat those by the pound, so no problem there. That 1.5 ounce get some head is the most popular pairing, but 1 ounce to 2 ounce, depending on your current and depth, is going to be what you want to do on the head.
All right, very good. 8 inches, Scott. No filthy jokes tonight, please. Blue skies. Phil and Sam, I think one of the reasons why it's good to have 200-pound bite leader is in case the bluefin tuna swallow the jig and then they chew through the line, presumably.
Yeah, that's the bite leader. Yep.
All right, very good. Mackie, with all this fluke nonsense going on, Sam, what size spinning reel should PPL be considering?
People.
I like PPL, actually.
I'd say a 5,000.
Will you spell it out, please, you lazy bum?
I'd say
Yeah, you want oh,
5,000 or 6,000 size reel, and just to keep in mind, the sizing on the Daiwas, on the old Daiwas, and still even some of their BGs has changed, and so it might be more like a 3,000 or 4,000. I'd have to look at that a little closer, but in the current Shimano sizing, 5,000, 6,000, that'd be the size of reel.
Follow-up question. Mackie wants to know, what size PP do you use with your fluke, Scott? Mike Krinkovich is back. Hey, you're right. Here he is. Wouldn't it be so much fun to introduce these youngsters on the soon-to-be recognized the Redondo barge?
It'd be.
Yep, I agree. Israel De La Cruz says, Sam, do you have a rod recommendation for a Daiwa Saltus 6500?
That's a pretty heavy-duty rod, so something in like a 76 heavy, or even maybe, I think Okuma makes the even heavier rod. They make like a 7.6, like double extra heavy or something like that. But that's a pretty big reel. You're probably gonna load that up with 65-pound or 80-pound braid, and it'll still hold a lot of line. So a pretty heavy-duty rod to go with that.
Mike Krinkovich says, bring back the barge.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Grizzly trout fishing. Thank you for being here, my friend. I'm going on the Fury tomorrow out of Dana Point. See how it goes. Cheers, fellas. I still need to visit your shop from Island, California. Hey, the guys from the Fibbers Christian Fishing Club were just out on the Fury, and they had an outstanding trip. Really great trip with yellowtail. They had one yellow that went 40 pounds on that trip. Some halibut. I think they had some sea bass. They had a lot of halibut and good calico bass fishing. Grizzly, I think you're headed for a really great trip. Scott Buchert retracted one of his filthy messages. Thank God I don't have to read that. I wouldn't know what to do. Chris Navarro says, isn't Michael Imone's birthday soon? Time for another carnivore potluck to celebrate. I think he had his birthday, right?
Yeah, we were in Mexico.
It's come and gone, Chris. But we can still do a carnivore thing anytime you want. Jason Lawler, the excellent galley chef, on board the Amigo, says, hello, guys. Jason, good to see you, man. You've been talking about going to Mexico with us all year long. And every time I have a trip, you have some phony excuse, like you got to work 12 days in a row. Just kidding. Mike Krinkovich will not stop tonight, man. I love this. This is so entertaining, Doug. I don't care what you do. He's rolling his eyes, and I know. Yo, Phil, open the door. Rick Hughes is hanging outside Island Tackle. He's your producer guy. Oh, is this Rick Hughes with the dog, maybe? Yeah, maybe. Rick Hughes.
Dog's right here.
Oh, the dog's there. That might be Rick Hughes out there that I'm doing a show right now, or I'd run around and open doors and do all that stuff, Mike. But right now I'm doing that. And he wrote the new jingle to the morning briefing on Friedman Adventures. I heard Scott singing it in the shower a couple of nights ago. Don't ask me what Scott was doing in my shower. I don't want to talk about that. But he was singing the jingle to the morning briefing. How's it go, Scott? No, he won't answer. All right, here we go. Jim K., would you happen to know when is the high tide on the 5th of July? By the way, this is Jim. Jim. I figured that out when it said Jim K. Just kidding. I think if I remember, Jim, because I was looking at that, it's like 7 a.m.-ish, something like that, 7:30. So like being there at 6 would be ideal, and then fishing till 10 in the morning is a really good time. Did you look it up, Anthony? Okay. I think so. It's going to be somewhere around there. That's the reason I scheduled it for that time. And incidentally, we had over 75 people show up to our last event. I just want to thank you all. Really great people. Really had a lot of fun. Sam read a question ahead, and he's getting prepared to put on a show. I love it the way this goes. Jim, thank you so much. Jason Lawler, question for you, Sam. I need some Sea Falcon Deep Nico jigs, 320 to 400, or even smaller ones.
I got him. Come on down.
Jason Lawler, there's your answer. James Williams. Love you, James. Phil, since it's a nostalgia night, it kind of is, talking about the barge and everything else, and Chuck Zimmer from Z Custom Rods. Chuck's ignoring me. He's been not around tonight. He's breaking my heart. He's learning stuff. I love Chuck. He never stops learning. Never stops doing stuff. I absolutely love it. It's nostalgia night. I remember when fishing the end of the Oceanside Pier with the foam rubber ball to float a bonito feather. For a kid, it was an awesome catching them. Yeah, James, I remember a bubble and feather was such a great way to catch bonita and so much fun. I loved every minute of it. Sam, am I going to keep going or what?
Keep going, man. You just keep going.
Mike Krinkovich, Rick is the theme song Master Blaster. Mike, thank you so much. He may be out there with a dog right now. I think that might be him. Vanilla Ice Cream. Hey, Sam, is he going to come in and do a live thing?
He's asking you if the theme song is that song.
Oh, yes.
He wasn't.
He
wasn't giving you a
Mike
praise.
Krinkovich?
Yeah.
No, Mike Krinkovich is the guy that hooked me up with this guy. So,
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Keep going, man.
Rick is the theme song Master Blaster.
He's asking you a question.
He knows. He hooked me up with the guy.
He's okay.
He's the guy who suggested
Yeah,
this
but see,
guy.
the people out there,
Yeah?
they don't know everything that's in here. So
Oh.
they're asking you if what's in here is what's there. So they want the answer.
You're
to that.
confusing me because I've already
know,
covered
it's
the fact
confusing.
that this guy wrote the song to the morning briefing. Maybe you were over there
Is
getting
the
reels.
song based on the song Master Blaster?
Oh, got you. I don't even know what the hell Master Blaster is. So there. Is that a pop, whatever it is? I'm going downhill fast.
I already told you.
I need some Vietnamese coffee. Vanilla ice cream. Hey, Sam, can you show us a couple of examples of a 5,000 you have on the shelf before Phil completely disintegrates?
I already told you
Master-
last week. The 5,000. I'm just kidding. So this is a 6,000 Saltus MQ. The 5,000 is very, very similar. This is a 4,500 pen slammer. So, reels right in this size here, it's kind of hard to tell, I guess, on over the camera there. But it's a reel that's going to hold right around, I'd say 250 to 300 yards of 30-pound braid is going to be the capacity that you're looking for. You could put a little heavier braid, but 30 pounds should be good enough. This particular reel, this 6,000 Saltus MQ, is the one that I use on my long range trip, and I've caught a ton of tuna between 30 to 50 pounds. So I know for sure it'll handle the sea bass, no problem. So you can even go a little bit smaller, but 5,000 or 6,000 or even this kind of in between to this 4,500 pen would be good.
All right, Jason, great question. And what an answer. Sam ran off and got the stuff. Scott Bucher wants to point out that Thursday is the Dan Hernandez trip on the El Patron. And I'm so glad Scott pointed that out because, Dan, if you're watching, there's still time to ask Chris Isaac for another deckhand. You still have time. Take my advice. You may not want to have Scott. Now, Anthony is okay, but you have time to replace Scott Bucher. You've been forewarned. Dan Hernandez is hopefully watching the show. I love Dan. He's a good guy, and he's been in this business for a long, long time. And you got to realize that the reason he has been in it is because he does such a great job. In the boat fishing, how far of a run to Santa Cruz, Santa Rosa Island from 22nd Street? Oh, it's got to be 80 miles up there, doesn't
I
it?
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty far.
Pretty good little jog up there, 8 hours. I was talking to Anthony, though, and we were talking about some trip on a boat, and I go, you know, we could. It's not that bad. Or no, we were talking about flying to Florida for the the ICAST show. And he's like, man, a 5-hour flight. And I go, dude, you're not even to like Kameni in 5 hours.
Yeah.
So it's really not that bad. All right, Jason Lawler is coming tomorrow to see you,
Pick up some
Sam.
jigs. Hell yeah.
That's great. In the boat fishing, we got him, Chris Navarro. 101 people watching. Hit that like button. Thanks, everybody. 106 people watching right now. People enjoy watching me just come apart at the seams, you know?
And that's just the people that are registered. There's people that, even more people watching.
I know. Well, there's weird stats that you get. I don't get it. Some guys will send me like, Chuck, you know, when I see this, he'll send me something that says 330 people watching, and he's got like a stat on that. So I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. We'll work on that for you. Mike Krinkovich is back again. Get Rick into going live.
Well, yeah, you should get Rick.
Yeah, that damn Rick. I want to get him into going live, but
Yeah.
Rick, what a jackass, man. He never shows up when I tell him. Oh, that Rick. Oh, I forgot. Yes. Anthony, do you want to go out and try to get this guy with the dog? Well, wait a minute. Let's wait till the end of the show. Well, let's get.
Oh, you mean now?
We still have a lot of questions to go. Mike is our executive director tonight, I can see. That's what you want, a guy that's had 14 margaritas directing the show. Daniels, let's see. Phil, what day is the Apollo trip in September? Hey, Sarge, that trip departs on Patrick's birthday. Not that you care about that, but it's September the 23rd. Mike Krinkovich, Rick wrote the official theme song for the morning briefing.
All right, it's
Damn
good.
it, I didn't know that. Wait, you mean the guy that's out here with the dog wrote the morning briefing theme song?
I guess.
And he did it after Master Blaster?
I guess. It's
Whoa!
possible.
Hey, Mike, can you repeat that another 14 times so I can assimilate that and not have to worry about that again? The fishing cowboy or whatever it is over here is like, what is with this Mike Krinkovich guy tonight? Quentin says, Phil, you're on fire tonight with the humor and digs. Man,
Yeah.
so listen to that. I
think
can't stop
think
laughing.
Instead of these chairs, we're going to need
Quentin,
cots.
I want you, if I ever have a Vegas show, I want you in the front row, man. A man that appreciates good humor. Tommy Blackmon. What are you going to do another trip on the Island Spirit?
Yeah.
I got to talk to him about that for sure. I'll do that, Tommy, and I know Daniel wants to do some more stuff. We love fishing up there. I'll come up with some dates for you here shortly. Greg Bates is the elf. He was at our fishing event, and it was good to see him. Phil, look to the stars for your coffee and great tea. Laughing out loud. STARZ. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
You're the one who knows all this stuff. The Master Blaster and stars. What's he talking about?
I have no idea.
Doug, do you know what that means? Scott, do you know what that is? STARZ? Mackie knows. Well, I have no idea. All right, Greg, good to see you. It was great seeing you down there at the beach. Tyler Tanaka, where can we hear this new morning briefing jingle? On the morning briefing, I haven't played it the last couple of days because I screwed up and I don't know where it is. I'll find it, though. I'll get it. I have to add some photos to it and do a little bit of work on it, but it's really good. The guy did a great job. Get Rick in there. He's your biggest fan. All right, Mike, we'll get him in here. Daniel Sancy. Sarge. Okay, Phil, thank you. Put me down for the trip if there's room. All right, yes,
go.
Anthony's doing that right now. Ahmad says, would the white sea bass stick around by mid-July?
I don't know, man. I mean, right now, the way they're biting, it seems like those things are never going to go away.
I know.
Such volume, but those things aren't known to just be around that long. So who knows? It's a possibility.
Raul Amaraz. Raul, we missed you, and here you are, thankfully. Sam, Phil, what's up? Sam, so I'm going to Bola, Bay of LA, in a couple of weeks. I just bought Alexa 500 and want to pair it with a rod for Dorado.
Yeah, something like a 8 to 9 foot rod, or even though it's short, you can go 7.5, but call it 7.5 to 8.5 foot rod. Something rated like a 20 to 50 or 30 to 60. I know both Daiwa and Okuma and Shimano both make a couple rods that'll fit that really, really good.
All right, 98 minutes into this show, 104 people watching right now. We thank you all very much. Hit that like button. Chris Navarro, the morning briefing song is very similar to the Dodgers post-game show introduction. So you ought to love it.
Yeah.
There you are. Mark Adam. Every time I go on a sport boat, I feel like I need a 20 to 25 pound setup. I always seem to run into finicky fish and smaller fish. Do you have a real recommendation?
You know, those bait cashers is one you should check out. I mean, those things are really very versatile, especially in the smaller sizes. But in a regular conventional reel, something in the small sizes, something like a Torre 14, Trinidad 14, Saltis 20, Saltiga 20. You also can look at your Fathom Star Drags, a size 12 would be another good one as well. So just those smaller reels, they're going to have a little bit better free spool, especially when you're talking finesse fishing or fishing with smaller baits. Going to have much better free spool and have better bait presentation.
Slam dunk, as Real Time points out, the Aloha Spirit had 30 white sea bass today up in the Channel Islands. In the boat fishing wants to know how many anglers. I'm going to say 18 to 20 is what they carry on that boat. And they probably had at least that, or they probably had that many people unless they had a private charter and it was less. It's been good. 20 anglers on board the Aloha Spirit the day before. 50 white sea bass. That bite is so darn good. It's really, really excellent. I know I talked to Gino Machino. He was on the Ranger 85 this morning, a boat that Scott worked on for several years. And they only had a halibut and a white sea bass, but I thought maybe as the day went on, they'd get rid of some of that wind and get back on the fish. Aloha Spirit's been red hot. So has the Gray Light. They've been doing great. That is Sean Stewart up there in the Channel Islands, a good friend of mine. Ran the XL for many, many years. Just a really super great fisherman. Really has a lot of concern for his passengers, and it sounds like they had a great trip. Grizzly trout fishing. What would you suggest for a beginner into a surf fishing rod, reel, and line, Sam?
We actually have some combos, some ready-made combos. I think they're like $90 or something like that. But a 2,500 size reel, 8.5 foot rod to 9 foot rod is good. On the other hand, any kind of like cheaper freshwater setup. So, you got stuff out there that's 40 to $70 or something like that. That would work. Granted, they're not like quote unquote saltwater rated, but it'll work just fine. In fact, my kids, that's what I kind of rigged them up with when we go, and we've caught tons of fish. So don't get too caught up in having it be something that's on the high end. You can go overboard on that. Although unless that's something you just kind of enjoy buying, like the better stuff. But something lighter, something rated like a 6 to 12 or 8 to 17 kind of rod, and the reel would be, something in like a 2,500 size would be pretty good.
All right. Hey, and if that is Rick out there, it looks like you're watching the show. Rick, come on in. You can come on in and we'll introduce you here at the end of the show. He's playing around with a dog out there. Scott, why don't you go tell that gentleman he's welcome in. Scott Buchert has a comment right now, and it's a good one. And the goats to doing good on sea bass and halibut.
And the goats, yep. It's all about the goats.
Yeah, the goats. Sean Roberts' boat. Oh, the ghost.
Oh, the ghost.
There you are. There's this gentleman right here. We'll introduce you here at the end of this show, my friend. Great job on that great morning briefing. Right, Scott? Yep. Scott, turn your phone down. I don't want to hear all this background noise. All right, let's see. Grizzly trout, we got him. Scott Buchert is preoccupied with goats. And Chris Navarro for fly lining for bluefin tuna, 20 to 30 pound line. Do you use mono or braid to fluorocarbon, Sam?
Braid to fluorocarbon for me. That's my number one go. But there are times when I will make an adjustment and put the mono on there. For whatever reason, it seems like there are kind of one in a million chance that it does work better. But generally, I'm using braid right to fluorocarbon.
All right, very good. You want to get out of here, Sam? Oh, wait.
No. I want to give a couple of shout-outs to some guys
Please.
who finally been sending me some stuff. The guys from Sudden Impact kind of restocked me on some of their craws. There's punch craws. They're super, super popular for you guys fishing inside the harbor. They also sent me some of their new, or not really, they're new to me, the shrimp-type lures here. Kind of something that guys have been asking for. We got these in. And also Corey Sandin from MC Swimbaits. We're going to start carrying more and more of his stuff. I actually called him on the phone and just kind of asked him if it was okay if I carried some of his stuff. And I said, well, just send me some things that you think would work for the guys fishing in the harbor. So we decided on getting some of those 3-inch swim baits. And I said, just send me some colors you think are good. Well, he sent me 18 colors, man. And
whoa.
Every single one of them is like
cool,
so good,
awesome.
In the past, it's stuff that I would use, and I would kind of just go around town buying wherever I could. So I'm glad that I'm finally carrying them here. We're going to be expanding into some of their weedless stuff and their larger stuff. But we started off with this 3-inch swim baits. These also work really good for guys that are fishing those A-rigs inside the harbor or even outside the harbor. But for A-rig fishing, these are probably the more preferred baits. And we got these in stock as well. So thank you to you guys for bringing those in. We got a lot of stuff in here already, so it kind of seems hard to bring in anything new. But this is something we've been missing, and I'm glad we got it now.
All right, very good. Israel wants to know if we have the FA cruise shirts for sale. Yeah, hey, Izzy, send me a note, and I'll try to remember, but just send me a text, and I'll get you the information on that. By the way, Friedman Adventures hats for sale, 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. You can go in there and get a hat tomorrow or this evening if they're still open. Antonio Campos says, good evening, everyone. He was on the Aloha Spirit today. It was good. He got the jackpot with a 50-pound white sea bass. Antonio, that is one heck of a catch. That's a big sea bass, my friend. I'm loving that. Can't thank you enough for checking in here with us. Really appreciate it. Chris Navarro says really, really good stuff. So that is good. Sam, you want to get out of here or what?
Let's go.
Why? You want to go to the coffee shop? We've got to bring our friend in here, Rick. You want to come in, Rick?
I'm good here.
You sure? Yeah. Just point the camera at that man real quick. This is Rick. He did the morning briefing intro. Rick, you're the man. All right, let's hear some applause, Scott. Don't sit there. This gentleman came all the way out.
I'm a fan of Scott's, too.
Oh, you are? Yeah. I'm starting to lose my opinion about you now. I liked you before you said that. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you all so very, very much. Make sure you come down here to Island Fishing Tqckle. Sam's going to tell you the hours and when you can get here. These reels are up for raffle next Monday night. You can send Chuck a text right now, 310-918-1448. And he'll take good care of you. Sam, when can people visit you here at the store?
We're here Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Phone number is 310-707-1205. You can call, leave a message there, or you can send a message to Facebook or Instagram at Island Fishing Tqckle.
All right, Blue Sky says Cafe de Thuong is the best coffee shop. We're really not interested in that. Anthony, can you screenshot that, please? Thank you so much. And Mike Krankovich says, Rick is a solid guy. Just forget that stuff he said about Scott Buchert. You'll like him. In the boat fishing. Later, y'all. Thank you, Phil. We'll let you know how I do. Best of luck to you. Get a sea bass, my friend. Chris Navarro says, hit that like button on your way out. For Sam and for everybody here, including Scott Buchert, Rick, Mackey, Chuck from Z Custom Rods. Do I have to say it a million times? The Fishing Cowboy, Scott Buchert, Doug Tilk. Did I say Mackey? Did I say Antonio? I said enough. I'm done.
Arentis.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. Morning briefing, bright and early tomorrow morning.